Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds, and I'm here with Keith, co-star of my upcoming film, If, only in theaters May 17th. Do you want to tell people the big news? All right, I'll do it. Sign up now and you'll get unlimited for $15 a month and 6 months of Paramount Plus Essential Plan on us. MintMobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 equivalent to $15 per month. Unlimited over 40 gigabytes per month. Face lower speeds. Videos at 480p. Active Mint customers by 531.24 get 6 months of Paramount Plus Essential Plan. Auto renews after 6 months. Offer ends May 31st, 2024. Separate Paramount Plus registration required. Terms and conditions apply if rated PG.
There's never been a faster or easier way to start your weight loss journey than with PlushCare. PlushCare accepts most insurance plans and gives you online access to board-certified physicians who can prescribe FDA-approved weight loss medications like Wegovy and Zepbound for those who qualify. Take charge of your health and speak with a board-certified physician about a weight loss plan that's right for you. Get started today at plushcare.com/weight loss. That's plushcare.com/weight loss. plushcare.com/weight loss.
Hello and welcome, and thanks for joining me for this episode of Stray Thoughts. I'm Damian Robb, writer, podcaster and educator, and on this podcast I try to cobble together some stray thoughts into messy but meaningful essays. It's a kind of audio blog, so much so that you can also read the episodes and see any associated images by going to damianrobb.com/stray thoughts. So let's do it. Let's share some stray thoughts. And for this one, I want to talk about airports, flying, and my Viennese family. As I write this, I am sitting on my brother and sister-in-law's couch in Vienna, looking through their back window at their small square plot of lawn and the ivy-strewn wall that sits behind it. 4 days ago, I was half a world away, across endless oceans and vast land masses, in my own home in Melbourne, Australia, a distance that, while I've travelled it many times now, is still largely unfathomable to me. Life is weird, and sometimes what makes that most apparent is getting on a plane. The entire plane and airport experience is a surreal one. As soon as you pass through those glass sliding doors, you have entered a tiny pocket universe, one that I'll call Airportland, and which has tendrils that reach into all the countries in the world. Upon entering this tiny universe, you may not immediately realize that you have left your own original universe behind and now stand outside of it. But slowly it will dawn on you that you presently exist nowhere and everywhere. The scenery of Airportland is a giveaway. It sits under innumerable and ever-burning tiny fluorescent suns, positioned in its perpetually white blank sky. It has a countryside consisting of long, stretching corridors backdropped with vistas of glass windows. While it is rare to step beyond these windows, at least without first sacrificing hours of your life, they do display fields of tarmac and the wild winged beasts that live there. The flora and fauna inside Airportland is equally as interesting. Seating grows in rows of uniform symmetry, the occasional charging station spotted between them. Wild food courts burst out of the carpeted floor like a jungle, all selling their goods at prices that'll make your eyes bleed. The inhabitants of Airportland are interesting, in that they are both familiar and yet entirely unique. They speak in all the languages and accents of the world, and all carry with them a collection of strange objects that only seem to serve the twin functions of entertainment or rest. Despite their varied appearances, they all share a common dazed expression and can be found in one of two states. Either the most extreme rush you've ever seen, or lounging and lazing to such a degree that they appear to have entered some kind of fugue state. This is, in fact, a temporary hibernation common to the inhabitants of Airportland, and one used to better bear the long days and nights as they wait for their turn to ride the great and wild winged beasts. The activities to be found in Airportland are consistent, if not exciting. Besides the wallet-draining food courts, they also have high-end shopping that, while you'll never actually buy any of the products they sell, even if you weren't limited in the amount of luggage you carried, you will find yourself wandering in and out of them, inspecting perfumes and leather goods, stands of liquor and shelves of Toblerones, all with a level of intensity and interest you only have while visiting Airportland. Eventually, you'll find a need to rest, and so will head to your designated housing, a gate that is near identical to all the others, whereupon you'll sit in one of the rows of seating and either look at your phone or a book, or stare out at all the people of Airportland and quietly judge them, sometimes sharing these observations in gleeful whispers with your friends or partner. Finally, it'll be your turn to board one of the great winged and wild beasts, whereupon you'll realise that by doing so you haven't left Airportland at all. Rather, you have simply entered a smaller, more crowded and less comfortable version of it. And then the Great Wait will begin. But it's not all bad. During the Great Wait, you'll be gifted meals with multiple parts, and while their levels of appeal will differ, you'll likely eat every bite, perhaps commenting that it wasn't quite as bad as you were expecting. You'll also explore a carousel of viewing options on the small screen in front of you, and find a strange pleasure in watching one after another as you wait for yet more food to be brought to you. You'll also sleep. A term here I put in inverted commas because this sleep is not like the traditional sleep you are used to. This is more like a forced, temporary and uncomfortable unconsciousness brought on by extreme tiredness and boredom, and which is unlikely to last as long as you'd like. But at least when you wake, you'll have even more food waiting for you. After a period of time, how much it's hard to say because time in Airportland works differently, you will disembark into fresh air and freedom. No, only joking, you're still stuck in Airportland and about to do it all again because your trip is only halfway done. All jokes aside, our flights were surprisingly pleasant. We left our house at midday on Saturday and arrived at John and Alex's at around 7 a.m. their Sunday morning, which would be roughly 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon Australia time. We flew for 14 hours to Abu Dhabi, where we had a 4-hour layover before another 6-hour flight to Vienna. In that time, I wrote about 1,200 words on a story, watched 5 movies, read a bit, and entered the strange half-consciousness of plane sleep for as long as I could. I have very mixed feelings towards flying. Firstly, I have a small phobia towards it, brought on by a very memorable and terrifying experience decades ago, and which now leaves me gripping the seat and sweating uncontrollably whenever we hit some bad turbulence. Or at least, it did. I think I'm slowly getting better at regulating myself in these situations, but I'll also never not be aware of all the distance between me and the ground, or experience a feeling of relief when we finally land. I also do firmly believe that flying is one of the more uncomfortable experiences any of us will have, especially when travelling anywhere from Australia since we're so far from everywhere else. And yet, there's something strangely pleasant about it as well. It's a period of time where you are so limited in what you can do that you really don't have to do anything. All expectations on you, including your own, are dropped. Something that is so rare that the only other instance of this I could think of is when you're ill to the point of being bedridden. With this comes a strange freedom, a temporary pause in everyday life where you truly just exist for a while, even if that existence is within the confines of a single seat in a long metal tube with a few hundred other people 12 kilometers in the air. Then there is also the fact that usually when flying somewhere, it's for a holiday, and those are golden. For this one, so far, there is not too much to say, at least not in terms of travel. There is plenty to say about visiting family and immediately nesting into their lives, which is exactly what we've done. This first week is still a working one, and so after landing on Sunday, it was back to work for both Holly and I on Monday. Again, this wasn't as bad as I think we may have imagined, no doubt thanks to being with family and the space and environment they kindly and lovingly made for us. Truly, it doesn't feel that different to working from home, which is such a special and spectacular thing to realise. Certainly something I never would have predicted was that one day I would have a second home in Vienna's 22nd district, or that a piece of me would feel a sense of belonging here. But through marriage and now the adorable existence of an equally bubbly and emotional 2-year-old boy, I will forever have ties to this city. More than that though, after a number of visits, Vienna feels familiar and comfortable. The language barrier will always be a barrier, but outside of that, it feels like visiting an old friend. As for my actual friends, by which I mean my family, but that was an easy to reach segue and so I went for it. It is of course a joy to be spending time in their company once again. We haven't and are unlikely to do anything particularly touristy while in Vienna, because that's not the point. Quite the opposite. We are after all the mundane things, just doing them in another country with our people who happen to live there. That's what makes it so special. Having coffees together in the morning, taking Rue to kindergarten, walking down to the local shops, going for a run with my brother, playing with a bubble machine in the backyard, and sharing home-cooked meals and talking about our day. Right now, and it has been a day since I first started writing this post, I am back on the couch, now joined by my brother and nephew. All at said nephew's request, as he wanted some company while he ate his lunch and watched the inexplicably odd videos of kids' YouTube. It's a public holiday, and so we're all at home. The day is sunny and mild. We've eaten a delicious and sweet Austrian breakfast. Our plans for the day are to nap, get an ice cream, and then have a barbecue in the backyard. There are worse ways to spend a holiday. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Stray Thoughts. And if you like, you can find me on socials at damianrobb.writer, or feel free to send me an email at damianrobb.writer@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed this, leave a review, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Otherwise, I look forward to talking to you next time and sharing some more Stray Thoughts. And until then, if you happen to visit Airportland, be sure to pick me up a souvenir. Maybe a last-minute beach read or some tiny toiletries.
Imagine the softest sheets you've ever felt. Now imagine them getting even softer over time. That's what you'll feel with Boll & Branch's organic cotton sheets. In a recent customer survey, 96% replied that Boll & Branch sheets get softer with every wash. Start getting your best night's sleep in these sheets that get softer and softer for years to come. Try their sheets with a 30-night guarantee. Plus, get 15% off your first order at bollandbranch.com. Code BUTTERY. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
When you make decisions for your company, you look for the no-brainers. And if you have a lot of mailing to do, Stamps.com is the ultimate no-brainer. It streamlines your processes to make your business more efficient, which makes you less busy. Mail checks, invoices, legal documents, and everything you need to keep your business running with Stamps.com. Seamlessly connect with every major marketplace and shopping cart. Schedule package pickups and see your cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers, with rates up to 89% off USPS and UPS rates. And with the Stamps.com mobile app, you can take care of mailing and shipping wherever you are. Make the same no-brainer decision as over 1 million other businesses with Stamps.com. Sign up with code PROGRAM for a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. That's Stamps.com. Code PROGRAM.